Hi, I'm Lisa, and welcome to my channel, Poverty Talk. I'm here to talk about a lot of things that relate to poverty, but not just financial poverty. We're here to talk about spiritual poverty, emotional poverty, lack of compassion, poverty in all levels. I live in California, in Marin County, which is the county on the northern side of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a very expensive place to live, and I live as somewhere between working class and poverty level. But it's not the money that's hurting me. It's the way the world's going and the way my life is and the way I see people hurting. I started watching a television show and I was shocked at how much that storyline mirrored my life. And I'm sure there's lots of other folks out here that have stories to share. So this is the place, and we're going to get started. I think I want to talk about the first thing that's really bugging me, really pissing me off, and that's the term people of color. What does that mean, people of color? Do we say people of color now because there's no more minorities, or because the Hispanic minority's gotten so large that they're a minority, that they're a majority, or that the Hispanic minority has gotten so large that the Hispanic minority has gotten so large it is a majority? And I have no problem with that at all, not at all. But what I have a problem with is calling everybody people of color and smashing, combining, clumping the African American into that group. The African American individual in this country at this time has never received any kind of reparation for slavery. They were brought to this country against their will, and some folks are still struggling. And as a country, taxpayers need to provide some sort of emotional, spiritual, familial compensation. I don't know what that would look like, but I certainly know that the Latinos who came here, who wanted to be here to get away from the persecution or whatever issues were in their country, fine, you're wonderful, you're welcome. But we cannot confuse that with the work we need to do for the descendants of slaves. Period. One of the reasons I have this concern is when folks were going for the vote, African Americans were going for the vote at the same time women were. In fact, African American men started the movement and decided to join the women's movement that had started a little bit later, but had sort of happened coincidentally or coincided with the black person's vote. What the African Americans wanted was black men to vote, and what women wanted was women to vote. Well, white men were so horrified at the thought of black people voting that they chose to have women vote. Whoopee for us. But we did not give the vote to the African American at that time. The African American might have done better on their own. Now, the turnout, I think, is good, except we dropped the ball so badly on the African American between the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s until finally there was civil rights movement, till finally somebody showed up to speak out against the unfairness and the atrocities that were happening in the African American communities. Thank God that person spoke out, but I don't see a lot of improvement. I mean, yes, we have a president who's half black and his wife's black and the children are, but I don't see how that helps the people in the ghetto. I don't see how the president's speeches help the people in the ghetto. I don't see how Michelle Obama worrying about kids being fat helps the kids in the ghetto. I think people get raised up to a position where they want to be or of some empowerment, and they forget the people they struggled with. So the reason I hate the term people of color is because it clumps people together based on how they look. And the people that are being clumped together don't all have the same background or the same needs or the same issues. We brought people into this country against their will. We tore them away from their customs, their heritage, their lives, their family, their grandparents, their history, and we brought them here, and now we're pissed off that they're pissed off. Well, I have a soft spot in my heart for this issue. That's all I can say, and I like to say that I may say things wrong, and I may be read as a racist. I don't know, maybe I think racist thoughts. I try not to, which will be another discussion of mine. But nobody can beat me. I'm sure I've had more sex with more people who aren't white than the average person. And I'd like to say if you could have sex with somebody, it pretty much means you're accepting of their skin color. Or maybe it turns you on. For me, I think it was an accepting, because I just like men in general. Okay, thanks for letting me talk at my first posting. I'm very excited to get this out there. I'll be talking, and I'll be very interested in responses and promoting your responses. So have a lovely day, and I'll get back at you as soon as I get all this stuff set up and I get my channel functioning. There will be a blog. I will be discussing all the things that I do. I have many creative outlets. I have a lot of flaws. I make a lot of mistakes. A lot of people don't like me, but a lot of people do. And my camera seems to be filming me, so that's pretty much all you need for a YouTube channel, huh? Well, thanks for your time and attention, and I'll be back at you in 2 or 3 days.